What's up, you guys? Welcome to a special review. I guess it's just a review, but it's special to me because I am a massive fan of two massive icons of the science fiction, horror, action genre. Man, I'm just really beating around the bush to say that Holden and I watched Godzilla vs. Kong last night, and
Yes.
I am thrilled to discuss it. And joining me to have this conversation with me, Phil, it's very appropriate. You saw it last night as well. I'm joined by Holden Hardman. What's up, buddy?
Hello. Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me. I'm glad to talk about this movie. Got some thoughts on it. I'd love to share them with you.
Good. I feel like I've already buried the lead as far as where I stand on it, so fuck it. Holden, how did you feel about Godzilla vs. Kong?
Generally speaking, I enjoyed it. I particularly enjoyed the third act, the actual kind of, final fight between them. I did feel like it was a little bit slow getting to that point. It felt like a King Kong featuring Godzilla a little bit for the majority of the movie, but we'll get into all that.
Yeah, I agree. It did have that vibe. In fact, I said it's much more of a Skull Island sequel than it is a Godzilla Part 3.
Yeah, I agree.
I really dug it, man. I had a lot of fun with it, and I knew coming into this that I've got to check my bias. It's kind of like the thing with the Warner Brothers DC fans, right? Like, I feel like Justice League is a movie that was made for the fans. I feel like Kong vs. Godzilla is very much a movie that plays for the fans. And of all of the MonsterVerse movies so far, I feel that this is the closest and the truest in tone to the old Toho movies.
Yeah.
Do you have experience with the old Toho movies?
Just loosely. I mean, I knew of Mechagodzilla before, and kind of like what you were saying about the fan service, I definitely feel like they're finally not afraid to go to those like absurd levels of a giant robot Godzilla in a 2021 film, and just giving us what we came for, which was the monsters fighting. I actually thought that Godzilla King of the Monsters did it a little bit better because it was so much more focused on Godzilla fighting the monsters, whereas this one I feel like was kind of, you always get these problems with these kind of CGI characters. You focus too much on the people, like Millie Bobby Brown and their whole little group. I felt was for the most part pretty unnecessary, kind of set up only to screw with the signal of Mechagodzilla in the end. It was really the only thing that they had to do, or that gave them their characters any relevance was that moment. But I would have liked, I guess, throughout the movie a little bit more focus on both. We had a ton of focus on King Kong, very minimal. I mean, they really set him up to be like the villain. I watched it with Jen, and when we watched that part of Godzilla coming to Pensacola representing, and just destroying the facility, it really made him seem like a bad guy. And when I'm like, lean over, like, he's actually, he's not really bad per se. He's just, challenging the other monsters and only when provoked. But it didn't come off. It definitely came off Godzilla was the bad, the kaiju,
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I'm so glad you brought up the Pensacola thing. Again, dude, I got to check my bias. I felt like this movie came out of my 12-year-old brain. It is insane how much it spoke to my kind of fan sensibilities of this particular set of franchises. For those of you guys at home, there was a Godzilla vs. Kong movie. Maybe it was Kong vs. Godzilla, but it came out in 1962. It was a Toho-produced film, and there are actually several nods that I kind of noticed in this film. The one in particular is where they are helicoptering Kong into Antarctica with the nets.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the GIF before, but in the 62 version, they use balloons and they kind of air carry him in a net as well.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. It's just little things like that I feel like carried me a long ways. My experience with the difference between Kong versus Godzilla and King of the Monsters, and I don't know that maybe I started to understand what to expect better, but I think this is my favorite of them.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that. So for me, at least upon like initially watching it, I like seeing the whole fight on the, on the not boats. They're the
whatever
naval
carriers.
vessel. Yeah. I like seeing all that. Godzilla has the advantage in the water. Almost killed him there. And I just felt like that, just like the first half of it was just a little too slow, too much stuff that I didn't care about with Millie Bobby Brown and like the conspiracy podcast. For me, I just didn't care about all that. I really wanted just to get back to the fights. Now, that being said, I love seeing Kong go down to like the Hollow Earth and getting like the axe made out of like a Godzilla tail thing, or his little spikes on his back. Loved all that, and that's what I came to see. So even though for me, I still kind of prefer the King of the Monsters with Ghidorah, I really enjoyed the final scene. And of course, we talked before, I think when we watched the trailer, we're discussing the trailer at some point, that you told me that there was a clear, distinct winner at some point, and it definitely seemed as though Godzilla won between the two of them. And then, of course, they kind of rectify it with having Kong bailing out Godzilla. So it's like, well, Godzilla beat Kong technically, but Godzilla would have died if King Kong didn't. I'm sorry. Another thing. I'm getting kind of rambling here.
Good.
Kong got the kill on Mechagodzilla, which was beating normal Godzilla. So they give a clear, distinct winner, but also at the same time leave it kind of open-ended. Kong killing Mechagodzilla, which beat regular Godzilla. So yeah.
Yeah, dude.
What are we even talking about right now? Like, listen to what I'm saying. Like, what are we?
This is what I'm here for, man. Literally breaking it down match by match, because in the military vessel beginning, the aircraft carrier scene, Godzilla came and just wrecked Kong, right? And it was so great. Godzilla's bringing him underwater. He's got his tail wrapped up, and he's about to drown him, just like a crocodile, which I think is a really cool thing they've done with Godzilla in this particular movie that we've never seen before. Godzilla has never crawled on all fours until this movie, and I thought it worked really, really well. I prefer him standing upright, obviously, but it was just neat seeing him kind of barreling through stuff with his little arms up front. But yeah, so that first round, Godzilla whooped that ass. The second round, Kong was the clear winner when they're battling in the Neon City in Hong Kong. And then Godzilla comes back and just wrecks him and ends up like stepping on top of him. But going into this movie, you could not have convinced me for a second that I was going to buy into the fact that Kong could actually whoop Godzilla's ass. But the way they handled it in the movie was so cool. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I went in thinking, like, how is this even going to be a competition if Godzilla is just going to destroy King Kong? But I feel like the way that they did it worked. They obviously showed Godzilla having the advantage in the little water fight. Then they gave Kong the advantage, I guess, with having the axe and fighting them in the city and whatnot. But I do think that it worked out the way it was supposed to, with Godzilla really being better. I mean, he's got like super laser mouth things that can penetrate to the core of the earth. And King Kong is just like a big gorilla. Granted, he has an axe, but that axe is even made out of Godzilla or Godzilla's lineage or family line. So I feel like it's obvious Godzilla is the stronger, which is why they had to focus more on King Kong, I feel like, because Godzilla had 2 movies prior to this, whereas King Kong had one that was kind of forgotten. And so when I took Jen to see it, she hadn't seen the other ones, and basically it was like seeing how they were treating King Kong and being like, this is so sad. Why are you showing me this? To try and, I guess, get the audience to empathize more or sympathize more with King Kong. Because I went in wanting to see Godzilla just wreck him, and then they have to make King Kong more kind of like likable, and being like, he doesn't want to be here, he doesn't want to do this, and then it's like, oh, well, I guess I don't really want to see him just get totally wrecked now. I kind of just want to see him become friends, but
yes. Very true to Warner Brothers with the verses in the title and then the team up at the end. But I think that this movie is just so bonkers that I have a really difficult time like objectively giving it a score. But I did want to ask you, because you saw King of the Monsters, what do you think about the way that they incorporated Monster Zero or King Ghidorah into the Mechagodzilla storyline?
I think it makes sense. It makes sense within the universe that they're in, I suppose. But I think it works. I really liked it visually. It looks awesome. There was a lot of like almost like Tron-inspired set design and stuff, and I really enjoyed that. And I guess I like the idea of Ghidorah. The way I sort of took it, Ghidorah sort of coming back through Mechagodzilla, because it overpowered the pilot. Once he kind of got that power, that was like Ghidorah's what did they say? It was like his
Neuralink or some shit?
Neuralink or something like that. So it would explain why Mechagodzilla would be like bad and want to kill Godzilla in the first place, instead of going through like kind of a Ultron fades of like, where am I? What is this form? You know, they just went straight to, oh yeah, I'm
Kill.
bad and I'm gonna kill. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Also, in the vein of Warner Brothers, there is a lot of fucking talky exposition that really doesn't matter, because ultimately we're kind of just there to see the monsters fight. But I did feel that they had a heavy task of trying to create a scenario in which any of this shit would happen. So I guess I give them a little bit of a pass on the crappy human characters, especially in this one, because it's a lot of like positioning, getting your guys in the right fucking spot so that they can actually face off. But I looked at Victoria and said the exact same thing you did. Actually, I said, man, you can tell that they're trying to hit all age demographics with this movie, because this Millie Bobby Brown and kid from Deadpool 2 storyline is fucking, it's whack, dude. And the podcast guy, like, oh man, that would have hit so different if he was like a white dude, because he's almost Alex Jones. I felt like I thought he was going to start yelling about
tap water.
Yeah, dude, I thought he was going to start yelling about Q and shit at the end. I was like, whoa, this is so I was surprised they went that direction, but it makes sense, especially on the heels of Bryan Cranston's character in the 2014 film. So, you know, when I saw the 2014 movie, I really loved the fact that they, within the context of the universe, they tried to ground it. When King of the Monsters came out, all of that was out the window, and I think that was the transitional part for me, where I was like, all right, I guess I got to get on board with this being just completely bananas instead of trying to be grounded. And I think that's why I was able to kind of walk into it with a tailored expectation. But I'm glad you brought up the Tron thing, because those heaves, the little helicopter things, they were fucking dope looking, dude.
Yeah, there was talking about like kind of the other characters. The director said something about how audiences are ready for more just like straight away CG character fights and stuff. Whereas I think that the general rule for studios has always been, you know, if you have a King Kong movie or a Hulk movie or a Godzilla movie or whatever it is, you have to have human or Transformers is another really good example. Where we want to see the Transformers. We don't care so much about the other stuff going on. Because I think like the girl, the whole Apex, the daughter coming in to like extract the samples and for the power source for Mechagodzilla, like I don't know. I just didn't really care about any of the people, with the exception of maybe the little girl and the doctor and the guy. Really the only three people that I really cared about. I really didn't care much for the Millie Bobby Brown conspiracy theory stuff. I felt like it was an attempt at some comedic relief, and I just didn't end up caring. I would have much rather preferred the doctor and maybe the little girl being the ones that jammed Mechagodzilla temporarily or something, as opposed to them. That's probably my biggest, if I were to have like a complaint or a nitpick, would be less them, you know, and more focus on, I want to see more of the monsters themselves. Maybe more focus on Godzilla. I mean, we didn't really get to see at all what he was doing. He just sort of showed up where King Kong was.
Yeah. And I don't know the relationship between the doctor and the little Iwi girl. I don't know why the Iwi girl was the only person on Skull Island. I don't know when they turned Skull Island into a containment unit. And to be honest, I don't really give a shit. Yeah, for sure. Well, and back in the day, like, Kong wanted to fuck the human character that he ran off with. I like this version better because it makes him a lot less of a, you know, big giant rapey monkey. Anything else before we wrap this up? Okay, wait. First of all, do you want to see more MonsterVerse movies?
Yes, absolutely. For sure, 100%, yeah.
What do? Do you team up Kong and Godzilla again? Does Kong go back to Skull Island and we focus back on Godzilla? What would you like to see?
That's a good question. I would like to see some sort of revitalization of Mechagodzilla, but I don't know. I mean, where the world is right now, you had these two titans, Kong ultimately submitting to Godzilla in the end, and then going their separate ways. So there has to be some sort of new threat to come along. Maybe an alien kaiju or something from the Hollow Earth that makes its way up. You know, the grandfather of all the kaiju or something, and maybe this huge kaiju battle where all the kaiju and the Hollow Earth come from all the sources of all over the planet. And I don't know. It's just got to go bigger and grander and more CGI, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I absolutely am down for whatever they want to put in front of me, because I'll consume that. I enjoy watching Hong Kong getting totally destroyed, and Pensacola, apparently we have skyscrapers here that are getting destroyed, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, if Pensacola shows up in movies, it's getting wrecked by giant mechs or giant monsters. At least in Atlantic Rim.
Yeah, apparently we have like an underwater super speedway to Hong Kong somewhere, like apparently downtown somewhere. So
yeah. All right, man. Let me know. Give me a score before we wrap this thing up.
I'd give this probably about a 7.5. That's what I would say.
It's so hard for me to be objective. As I mentioned up at the top, this is a movie that I feel like is really tailor-made to my younger self's sensibilities.
Yeah, no shame. No problem with that.
No, I love it. I've watched it when I got home, and I've made notes on it and everything. So I've seen it twice now. It will be on for the next week in my house every single day, which, my wife will just have to get on board with that. But yeah, as objectively as possible, just looking at it in terms of storytelling, in terms of filmmaking, I feel like the weakest link was the script, in particular the human characters. I echo a lot of what you said there. I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I feel like it was the movie that they set out to make.
Yeah, I agree. I'm comfortable with it being higher. I stand by. The only other criticism I have, so when I did a trailer reaction on my channel a while ago, and I commented about the size inconsistencies of Kong and Godzilla, and you got everybody and their mother being like, well, Kong was a teenager in Skull Island, he's going to get so much bigger. But I swear, man, that water battle that they had in comparison to like the size of the boats, like where Godzilla goes through it, and when they're in Hong Kong standing next to 100-foot skyscrapers, they were much bigger at that end scene than they were in there. I don't care what anyone says. They did, not that it's a bad thing, because we're talking about robot Godzillas fighting in China, but there is a difference. I swear there is.
I could see that. One negative criticism that you just now made me remember is that since the 2014 film, the monsters have lost their sense of scale in a way that I find unfortunate. Like while there were some
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and there's some great looking shots in here that really showcase Kong and Godzilla. Neither of those characters feel as big as I wish they would. I don't know. Gareth Edwards shot everything from ground level, looking up at these things, comparing them to other massive structures, and I felt like they did that really well. But yeah, man. Thank you for humoring me and hanging out to talk some Godzilla and Kong.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad to talk about it, and hopefully we can do some more.
Yeah, we got some stuff in the works. You guys make sure that you are checking out both channels and make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, I'm going to post links to Holden's content down in the description so that you can head over and see what's going on over there. We got some My Friend Watches episodes coming up soon and just all sorts of good stuff over there. Make sure you're subscribed here so that you can stay up to date with all of the terrible content. I got an Easter present coming for you guys, so get your eggs hidden. Ooh. And get your eggs hidden. All right. Nice. Anyways.
Yeah, hide those eggs.
And on that note, until next time, and on behalf of both of us, be terrible. Peace.